look, I get it. This was a tough game. Didn't go the way we wanted to. But there's got to be some positive things to take away from it. Like, what do you think of our execution? Execution? Yeah, I'm in full support of it. You know this is why no one talks to you, right? Well, that's not overly ideal, as the Golden Knights are handed their first loss of the 24-25 season by the hands of familiar face Logan Thompson and the Washington Capitals. Final score of not enough to too many. Oh, he's becoming like me. No, I would never become like you. Can you stop interrupting me, please? I've got to talk about this game, and I'm going to try and be positive about it. Anyway. So yeah, the outcome of this game wasn't great, but there are a handful of positives that we can take out of it. Yeah, we gave up the first goal again, which isn't great. And yeah, he looks a little shaky right now, which is also not great, seeing as he is, for lack of a better phrase, our only goalie right now. But the power play scored again, which is good. Victor Olofsson got on the board, and it was 1-1 after the first period. We were well and truly in this game. The Capitals were a fast team. They played with aggression. They were strong on the pucks. They were fast on puck retrieval, which the Knights uncharacteristically weren't, which was strange for them because that's kind of their MO, is being hard to play against. The one thing that stuck out in this first period that would become like a serious thing throughout the second, mostly the first 5 minutes of the second, execution. Execution was bad. And details were very bad. But the execution was just lackluster on the Knights' part this game. It was like they thought the game started later than it did. It was very obvious this was the first road game of the season because they played like it was a road game, just flat, not organized, a lot of one-and-done attacks. And it was a miracle we got that goal in the first period, but it was a wide-open net on a really good passing play on the power play, and Olofsson is good enough not to miss that. Though I hope that's not his last goal for a while, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Realistically, this game was decided in about 3 minutes, stretching from the end of the first period to the beginning of the second period. Golden Knights got themselves into their first, what I would call, penalty trouble of the year. Took 3 penalties in about 3 minutes. And they got away with most of it. I mean, they killed off 2 of them. The problem was they gave up 3 goals on 3 shots in quick succession. And some of them were really ugly. The 2-on-0, which constituted the 4th goal in this stretch, was not good. It was really, really not good. Theodore got caught lacking, and just generally there was a lot of puck watching. Now, when Jack Eichel scored on that rush to make it 4-2, I had a little bit of optimism that the game was going to come back to reality, but it never materialized in the third period. The Knights tried to make a push. They tried really, really hard to make a push, but there just wasn't a whole lot there. Now, I guarantee you if I had recorded this video immediately after the game ended, I'd have a lot more to say about it, but I've taken the time to mellow out a little bit. First loss of the year is always frustrating, especially on a night when Calgary wins to go to 4-0 to start the year leading the Pacific, and Edmonton wins, and my only solace is that Colorado lost again. So there's that. But the fact of the matter is it wasn't a good game. You could tell from the beginning that it was going to be a very ugly, sloppy, poor executed game, and it wound up being exactly that. And what makes this worse is this was, quote, the easy game on the road trip, as it was Washington, and then Tampa, and then the reigning champs in the Florida Panthers. So next 2 games aren't necessarily going to be easy, and there's a very real chance the Knights come back from this road trip 3-3, as opposed to 4-2, 5-1. Well, 5-1's the best case. I was hoping 6-0 because, I can dream like last year. Unfortunately, the loss in this game isn't even the worst part of it, because usually when you get beat this badly, you don't even show up to the building on time. The one thing you can walk away with is saying, oh, at least nobody got hurt. And I was about to be able to say that, but then that didn't happen. Olofsson got hurt. And what makes it worse is this wasn't the fun kind of hurt either. This wasn't the, I went into the boards wrong and I'm just going to take myself out of the game for precautionary measures. This was the, I went into the boards really, really wrong, and I can't put any weight on my foot. And that's not good. Given the last time we saw an injury like this, it was Drew Doughty in the preseason, and he's going to miss half the year now. So that's not good. And I was just starting to like him. He had 3 goals in 4 games, and I hope the injury's minor, and I haven't seen anything on the prognosis. I haven't seen any roster movements. That's mostly because I don't think they need to. Because if he is out, Brisson's just going to slot in there, which will be okay, I guess. Bit of a lateral downward move, and it's totally going to jumble up a line. And it's the bottom 6, so it's not the end of the world. But he's a good piece on the power play, and our power play has for once gotten off to a very solid start, despite going 1 for 4 in the last game. Hey, it's better than what we were used to, which is 0 for 5. So progress. But I just wonder how this injury is going to impact the power play going forward. So it's not ideal. It's very not ideal, actually, if I'm going to be completely honest. It sucks, and it's hopefully not a precursor to another long year of the injury bug. We've been dealing with injuries as a franchise for 3 years now. Yeah, about 3 years where we've been one of, if not the most injured team in all of hockey. And that includes the retirement home that is the Coyotes and Carey Price's contract. So I don't know. I'm hoping it's minor. I haven't seen anything about it, but I probably will hear about it more on the broadcast later when the Knights take on the Lightning, which will hopefully go better than this game went, because this game couldn't have gone any worse. 4-2 is not great, and you let your old goalie make you look really bad. Because, sure, we scored 2 wide open nets, but beyond that, I cannot think of a single dangerous chance we had that we didn't score on. It was just one of those games where we didn't get to the interior, and Washington did the thing that's always been a problem for Golden Knights offenses. They stacked the blue line, made us go down to dump and chase, and we just weren't big enough to do so. Cue the simple mistakes, cue the defensive lapses, cue the turnovers, and that's how you wind up on the wrong side of the scoreboard at the end of the day. Now, it's okay. We weren't going to go 82-0 and then 16-0 in the playoffs, as much as I could have hoped, and as much as there are a couple of teams that think they're going to, like Dallas. But it's okay. It's not time to panic yet. Not quite yet. There are other teams in the league that should be panicking more. The Knights are still in a playoff spot. It's so early for me to even be saying that, but we spent all of the year we won the Stanley Cup in a playoff spot, and so I don't want to say it's a barometer, but it's definitely something worth keeping track of. On the topic of that team, by the way, the Golden Knights have started their season 3-1 through 4 games, 2 times in their history. And both of those years are somewhat significant in Golden Knights history. One of them is 2017-2018, so the first year, which was, we all know how that ended. And the other one was 22-23, and we all know how that one ended. So if there even is a silver lining, it's that if history repeats itself, we're guaranteed to go to the Stanley Cup final this year. I know it feels wrong saying that too, and I'm the one wearing the optimism jersey. But it's something. It's going to be okay. It's not great, and I hope this Olofsson injury is minor. And if it isn't, we have Brisson, and if that isn't, we have Ronbjerg, and if that isn't, we have Morelli. So, it's okay if he gets hurt. Let's just keep the injuries out of the top 6, please. And I really don't like that it's on power play 1, but we'll manage, I think. Bruce Cassidy is smart enough, and McCrimmon and McPhee are smart enough to figure out how to deal with this if it is long-term. But I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that it was just a banged-up bruise, and how he may even be in the lineup tonight for all I know. I haven't even bothered to look at the morning skate report. So, yeah. 3-1, 4-2 loss to the Caps. Congrats, Logan Thompson. You beat your old team, so now you can continue your quest of getting a win against every single team in the NHL. You're never going to be able to... actually, no. I don't know if you ever beat the Coyotes. Because if you did, then you could pull what is it, Jake Elliott? Or Brian Elliott? Or no, Jake Allen. Jake Allen is the goalie for the Devils, who has now beat 33 NHL teams. So that's a cool story, but I'll talk about that on the podcast on the next episode, so tune in for that, because I do love me a good bit of goalie trivia. That being said, not a great game, not a positive game, not a whole lot to take away from it, aside from Eichel extends his point streak 4 points, or 4 games and 4 points, or 4 games in a row with a point. Wow, I cannot talk this morning. Next game's up against Tampa, and hopefully the arena's still there. They haven't canceled the game yet, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and the hurricane was rough. But that being said, this was a bit more rambly than usual, but I'm just dumbfounded by how poorly the Knights played. There's almost nothing I can hang my hat on other than mistakes, injuries, and the other guy advocating for this team's execution. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it. If you really liked it, subscribe and never miss another one. Comment down below if you disagree with my analysis of they should be executed for playing this poorly. Next game up, Tampa Bay Lightning. What's the worst that could happen?